Reverend, can you just recap, because we have a lot of new listeners every day who don't know what the hate bill does versus the cyberbullying, what this does to free speech. You've got the bills on your website. What ended up happening in the House and Senate, where we are right now. Reverend Ted Pike.
Well, basically, the federal hate crimes bill, which has now been passed by both the House and the Senate, is an Orwellian attempt to basically unite federal and local policing power. It's number two. It will create a bias-oriented justice system in America, which says that our thoughts, our biases, when they result in some kind of speech that causes violent crimes or prejudice against others, becomes a hate crime. When this bill will be, if it is passed, it will be turned over largely to federal judges and judges all up the ladder to adjudicate from the bench. Most of them will be liberal, and they'll do more than just adjudicate in favor of punishing violent hate crimes. They'll also spread it out to outlaw verbal violence, those words that hold up certain protected groups, such as homosexuals, Jews, etc., to hatred and contempt.
And for those that don't know, we have read over both the bills here on air. With the hate crime bill itself very close to passing, it's saying that if you do something that down the road, years later, they say you influenced someone to do violence, even though you didn't call for violence, you're now guilt by association like the Soviet Union. You literally go to the gulag. And then the Cyberbullying Act says if you hurt someone's feelings on the web or try to influence a politician, that's intimidation and you go to prison. I mean, this isn't incremental tyranny. This is jumping ahead all the way to the end. This is more draconian than any legislation we've ever seen.
Absolutely. Now, last week, we were able to generate massive calling finally at the last moment. For about 3 days, the phones were jammed, and we were able to influence the Democrats on the floor of the Senate, and they passed the Brownback Amendment, which does include within the hate bill a very, very concise, very specific language saying that unless there's imminent, immediate speech that will incite people to violence, hate-motivated violence, that pastors and talk show hosts can't be indicted. So that was a real deliverance. But what the problem is right now is that in conference in the fall, the Brownback Amendment could be stripped off. And also we have a new window of opportunity here, actually to defeat the hate bill. I had hoped. You see, let me just back up here a little bit.
Yeah, let's stop right there. I want you to get into that, Reverend Pike. But first, can you explain for those of us that don't know, and I try to study this and it gets murky, the legislative history of this so we understand where we're at now?
Well, the Anti-Defamation League began in 1988 at their Hofstra conference in New York to jumpstart a model hate crimes law for America. During the 1990s, they persuaded some 45 states to adopt that and some kind of a state hate crimes law. But their big ambition was always the creation of a federal hate crimes law, which would give them behind-the-scenes empowerment to prosecute and end free speech and persecute, especially Christians in America. Now, historically, after 12 years of trying and 5 defeats, they have passed their big federal hate crimes bill. That's in a nutshell. It's barreling forward to conference in the fall.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, conference is in between the House and Senate to try to make any final changes so that it's a unified piece of legislation. Is there any way to shoot it down in conference or just try to keep that particular amendment on it?
Here's the only strategy I can figure out. Now, President Obama has repeatedly said in recent weeks, he's warned Congress that if they add from 7 to 12 extra Raptor, that's F-22 Raptor fighters, to the defense authorization bill to which the hate bill has now been attached, he will veto it. In other words, he will veto both the DOD bill with the hate bill on there. And unfortunately, this last week, the Senate did decide to strip off the Raptor fighters in order to please the president and not jeopardize the hate bill. However, the House a month ago voted overwhelmingly, by a huge margin, to keep all those Raptor fighters. So we have two DOD bills now. We have one that's overwhelmingly loaded down with 7 to 12 Raptor fighters and support from the House of Representatives, and then we have another bill from the Senate which doesn't have those extra Raptors on there. Now, what we have to do, what I believe our only real option now, is throughout the summer we've got to join with the very powerful defense arms industry, as well as workers in 44 states who are even now lobbying. We have to lobby to get those Raptors back on to the final DOD hate bill in conference in September. We have to create a bill which is so offensive, so overloaded with extra Raptors that Obama will be put on the firing line. He will veto the hate bill along with the DOD bill.
Ted Pike, I know it's important to defeat this. It's critical, but Obama is such a liar that he hardly ever does what he says he's going to do. In fact, he really never does. So if he says he'll veto it, if the Raptors are on it, doesn't that mean he'll probably sign it with even more glee than if the Raptors are there?
This is a big standoff. This is the first veto challenge he has given to his Democratic Senate. This is a standoff. He is wanting to posture here as one who is frugal with taxpayers' money, who cares about protecting America, is not the servant of the arms industry. Even though he's a left-of-left liberal, he wants to give a conservative counterbalance here to all the money that he's...
Well, meanwhile, he's stolen $23.7 trillion with the last administration.
That's exactly what I'm saying now. This is a real standoff. And rather than saying, "Oh, Obama will just go with the hate bill because his heart is with the hate bill," he knows this hate bill is a lot of trash. He doesn't have any real loyalty. He's promoting it on instruction from unseen powers behind the scenes. What we want to do here is we want to create a contest, a rivalry between the Democratic Senate and the House, who perhaps can be persuaded in conference to defy him versus his reputation and the image he wants to create. And if we can do that, if we can join all summer long, getting those phone calls not only into House and Senate members, but also, on the other hand, to the President, encouraging him to stand by his promise and veto the arms hate bill package. I believe this is a real viable opportunity. I believe it's the only real opportunity we do have to kill the hate bill, because...
Okay, well, let's try to kill the hate bill, but Pastor Ted Pike, let's look at the stakes. Go over the bill as it stands now if it does become law. Total federalization of police, the police openly being turned into political commissars under the DHS report. Veterans are terrorists, gun owners, Ron Paul, libertarians, Christians, clergy response teams, neighborhood tattletale squads, all Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL trained. I mean, we're not kidding when we say this is right out of Bolshevik Russia.
That's right. You see, even though this Brownback Amendment is at least temporarily put on there until conference, nevertheless, the whole weight of this bill, the whole momentum of it, is to create a thought crimes, bias-oriented justice system in America. And regardless of these caveats, like the Brownback Amendment, nevertheless, the practical result is that when this is passed, and if it becomes law, then there will begin to be indictments put down from the federal government with the ADL in the driver's seat in the background, and these cases will go before judges at every stage in the judicial ladder, and they primarily will be liberals. They will be exercising compassion and in a more of a holistic approach to the law. They will not only enforce the federal law against violent hate criminals, but against verbal violence. Those words which cut and hurt. And so this will very rapidly flow out and broaden into a broad hate crime, speech crimes law for America.
Separately, where is the Cyberbullying Act? Boy, that sucker's scary.
Yeah, the Cyberbullying Act is still in the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime. The Democrats have been really overloaded trying to get the hate bill through, but you can be sure that next September, October, that will be coming through. And by the way, you don't even have to hurt somebody's feelings on the Internet to be indictable under HR 1966, the Cyberbullying Act. You have to only intend to. You see what a thought crimes law this is? You only have to intend.
No, I know. I mean, we've read the passages here on air. It's hard to believe it, but it's the actual bill. I mean, this is more draconian than the hate speech laws in Europe. And folks, if you don't think the cops won't come and arrest you and the judges won't throw you in jail, they can't wait to do it. I mean, look at these DHS reports.
Yeah, and you see, that's why it's so important to whack the liberals on the snout here and stop the big federal hate bill, because if the federal hate bill goes through, there will be a breaking of the dam, a deluge of more and more of this ADL legislation coming through.